The alien king believed his daughter was lost in battle, until she returned with a human. The sky above the alien empire's capital burned red with the fires of war. Ships moved in patterns like angry bees, firing beams of light that tore through the clouds. Below, the armies of the alien empire marched in perfect lines, ready to defend their world. At the center of the throne room, King Varen watched the battle unfold. His eyes, sharp and cold, never left the screens showing the fight. His heart, however, was heavy. His daughter, Princess Alara, was leading the defense. She was brave, smart, and fierce, but even she could not fight the enemy alone. Alara's ship cut through the sky, weaving between laser fire and falling debris. Her crew followed her commands without question. The human fleet was larger than expected. The humans had grown bolder, attacking worlds that the Empire once considered safe. Alara clenched her jaw as her ship dodged another beam. She knew the cost of failure. She knew that if she fell, the Empire would crumble. "Princess, the left wing is collapsing," one of her officers shouted. "Hold them back," Alara ordered, her voice steady. "We cannot let them reach the capital, not today." The ship shook violently, alarms blared. Alara's hands moved over the controls, making the ship respond like an extension of her body. Outside, explosions lit up the battlefield. Alien fighters collided with human ships, some exploding into fireballs that fell into the atmosphere below. "Princess," her officer yelled. "A human cruiser is heading straight for us." Alara's eyes narrowed. She had trained for this moment her whole life. She pushed the ship to its limits, dodging lasers and debris. She fired back, targeting the cruiser's engines. The enemy ship wobbled, sparks flying from its hull, but it did not stop. It moved closer, faster than expected. Suddenly, a massive explosion shook Alara's ship. Alarms screamed louder. Her vision blurred for a moment. The ship spun out of control. Alara fought to regain stability, but the damage was too great. Systems failed one by one. She knew she could not escape alone. She activated the emergency escape pods. The crew scrambled to follow. As she was ejected into the cold void of space, she looked back at the battle. Fire and smoke filled the sky. Her heart sank. She had fought with everything she had, but it was not enough. She felt fear, a sharp, twisting fear she had never known, not for herself, but for her people. Back at the throne room, King Varen watched the screens with growing horror. The signal from Alara's ship went dark. He stared in disbelief. "No," he whispered. "It cannot be." His guards shifted uneasily. The Empire had never lost a princess. The thought was unthinkable. "Your Majesty," a minister said softly, "the ship is gone. We have no signal. It appears she has been destroyed." Varen's face went pale. He sank into his throne. Silence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. The death of the princess was not only a personal loss, it threatened the stability of the Empire. Reports from the battlefield arrived one after another. Alien forces were retreating. The humans had won this battle. The Empire had lost more than just ships and soldiers. They had lost hope. On a barren moon far from the battle, Alara's escape pod drifted silently. The cold pressed against the walls of the pod inside. She shivered, not from fear, but from the loss she felt. She was alive, but she was alone. The emergency systems had stabilized, and the pod's communications had been damaged beyond repair. She could not call for help. No one knew where she was. Alara looked at her reflection in the small window of the pod. Her face was streaked with dirt and sweat. Her uniform was torn. She had never felt so small. The realization hit her like a hammer. Her father believed she was dead. Her people mourned her. The Empire had already begun to plan without her. She felt a deep anger mixed with sadness. She could not let them think she had failed. She could not let the Empire fall without a fight. As the pod drifted closer to the moon's surface, Alara prepared for landing. The surface was rocky and unstable. The pod's small thrusters fired, slowing the descent. She held on tightly. With a loud crash, the pod hit the ground. Dust and debris filled the air. Alara coughed, feeling the impact through her bones. She looked around. The moon was desolate, empty, and hostile. There was no shelter, no help, and no sign of life. Alara forced herself to stand. She checked her equipment. She had some supplies, but not enough for long. She knew she had to move. She had to survive. She had to find a way back to her people, even if it meant facing the humans again. Days passed. Alara moved carefully across the barren landscape. Food and water were scarce. The alien creatures that lived on the moon were aggressive. She fought off small predators with a mix of clever traps and hand-to-hand combat. Every day she tested herself, pushing her body to the limit. She trained as she moved, keeping her mind sharp. She could not allow fear to control her. She could not allow despair to win. One night while resting in a small cave, she looked at the stars. The Empire seemed so far away. The humans had won the battle, but she could not forget them. She thought of the humans she had fought, the ones who were clever, strong, and unyielding. They were dangerous, yes, but there was something in their eyes she could not ignore, a determination that reminded her of her own. As she drifted into a light sleep, she felt a presence nearby. Something moved outside the cave. Her instincts screamed at her. She grabbed her weapon, ready to defend herself. A figure emerged from the shadows, and Alara froze. It was not an alien, it was a human. He looked as shocked as she felt. "Wait," he said softly. "I don't mean to hurt you. I saw your pod crash." Alara narrowed her eyes. She had been trained to kill humans without hesitation. But something in his tone, calm and cautious, made her pause. He did not have a weapon raised. He did not move aggressively. He simply looked at her, eyes filled with concern. For the first time in her life, Alara hesitated. She was alone, surrounded by danger, and now faced with a human who could have ended her life instantly. Instead, he offered help. Her mind raced. Could she trust him? Could she accept help from a human? She knew that pride and duty could not protect her now. She needed survival. She needed strength, and perhaps, just perhaps, this human could offer both. With a slow nod, she lowered her weapon. The human stepped closer, carefully, without threatening her. His name was Alex, he said. He had survived the battle, too. He had chosen not to leave the moon, hoping to find survivors. He had not expected to find a princess of the alien empire. Alara felt a strange mix of relief and confusion. She had always seen humans as enemies, as beings to fight or fear. Now one stood before her, alive and willing to help her. As the wind howled outside the cave, Alara realized that her fight was far from over. The war had not ended. Her empire was in mourning. Her father believed she was dead. But for the first time, she felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps she would survive. Perhaps she would find a way to return. And perhaps, in the most unexpected way, a human might be part of that journey. Alara and Alex stood at the mouth of the cave, looking out at the barren landscape. The moon stretched endlessly in every direction, rocky hills and deep craters under a cold gray sky. The wind carried dust that burned their eyes. Alara pulled her cloak tighter around her shoulders. She felt weak, but she refused to show it. Alex, seeing her struggle, offered a small water pack. She took it silently, still unsure if she could trust him completely. "We need to find shelter," Alex said. "This place is not safe. There are predators, and the weather can kill you if you stay out too long." Alara nodded. She did not argue. She had survived this long by listening to her instincts, and she knew he was right. Together, they began walking across the rocky surface. Every step was dangerous. Jagged rocks could cut through boots, and loose stones made footing unstable. Alara's training helped her move carefully, silently, like she was part of the landscape. Alex matched her pace, scanning the area for threats. Hours passed. The sun, or what passed for a sun on this moon, hung low in the sky, casting long shadows. They found a small cluster of rocks that formed a partial shelter. It was not much, but it would keep them out of the worst of the wind. They huddled inside, sharing a small meal from their supplies. Alara ate slowly, savoring the warmth. She had not expected to feel this safe, even temporarily, with a human beside her. "Why are you helping me?" she asked finally, her voice quiet. She did not look at him. Alex paused, holding a piece of food in his hand. He studied her carefully. "I don't leave anyone behind," he said simply. "Friend or enemy, it does not matter. I survive by helping people, not by hurting them." Alara considered his words. Humans had always seemed unpredictable and dangerous to her. They fought with strength and strategy, yes, but they also had compassion. She had never thought she would see that in the middle of a battlefield, let alone on a dead moon with a human. The first night was cold. They slept in shifts, one watching for predators while the other rested. The creatures on this moon were fast and vicious. Large, shadowed shapes moved in the distance, their eyes glowing in the dark. Alara kept her weapon ready, but Alex's calm presence helped her relax. They spoke little, conserving energy, but the quiet companionship brought a sense of safety neither had felt alone. Over the next few days, they learned to move together. Alex showed her how to find water hidden in small craters, how to identify safe plants for food, and how to build small traps for creatures that might attack. Alara taught Alex to move silently, to read the landscape, and to anticipate danger before it arrived. They became a team, slowly learning to trust each other. One day, while scouting ahead, they came across a small crater with the remains of a downed alien ship. Metal twisted and burned scattered over the rocks. Alara's heart ached as she recognized the markings. "This is one of my fleet," she said quietly. Alex nodded, understanding the weight of the discovery. They searched the wreckage carefully. Inside, Alara found supplies, spare weapons, and communication devices, though most were damaged beyond repair. She gathered what she could, hiding anything useful. Alex helped her carry the heavier items. "We can use this to survive longer," Alex said. "We need to keep moving." "Staying in one place too long will attract predators," Alara agreed. She felt a mix of pride and relief. For the first time, she realized that surviving was possible. She did not have to die here. She could find a way back to her people. She could make the Empire believe she was alive, and maybe, just maybe, she could change how humans were seen by her people. As they moved, they faced more dangers. Alien predators attacked at night, sometimes in packs. Alara and Alex fought them off together. Alara's training in hand-to-hand combat combined with Alex's tactical thinking made them a strong team. One night, a large predator leaped from a cliff, its jaws snapping. Alara rolled to the side, firing her weapon while Alex used a trap to pin the creature. It howled in pain, then collapsed. They stared at each other, breathing heavily, and realized how much they depended on each other. Days turned into weeks. Their bond grew stronger. They shared stories of their lives before the war. Alara told Alex about the Empire, about her father, about the responsibilities she had carried since she was a child. Alex spoke of Earth, of the humans who had trained him, and of the friends he had lost in the battle. Neither spoke of the war with hatred. They spoke of survival, of endurance, and of hope. One afternoon, they came across a deep canyon. The only way forward was to climb down and cross the valley below. Alara studied the rocks, calculating the safest path. Alex checked the ropes and harnesses he had carried. They moved carefully, hand in hand in some places, helping each other descend. The canyon walls were steep, and one wrong move could mean death. At one point, Alara slipped. Alex grabbed her arm, pulling her back. They both laughed nervously, relief rushing through them. As they crossed the valley, they noticed smoke rising from a distance. They approached cautiously and discovered a small human outpost. Soldiers were repairing ships, unaware of Alara's presence. She froze. If they saw her, they would attack. Alex placed a hand on her shoulder. "I won't let them hurt you," he whispered. Together, they hid in the rocks, observing from a distance. Alara realized that humans were not all the same. Some were dangerous, yes, but some could protect, like Alex. That night, they camped near the outpost. Alara thought about her father. He believed she was dead. He mourned her loss, and the Empire mourned with him. She felt a pang of guilt. She had survived, yes, but at the cost of leaving her people to think she was gone. She had to return, she knew that, but she had to survive first. Alex understood her thoughts without her speaking. He nodded, silently agreeing that survival came first. Over the next days, they scavenged supplies from abandoned ships and hidden caches on the moon. They repaired old equipment, built traps for food, and stayed ahead of predators. Every challenge brought them closer. Alara realized she no longer saw Alex as a human enemy. He was a friend, a protector, and someone she could rely on. Alex, in turn, respected her courage and intelligence. He had met many soldiers in his life, but Alara was different. She fought not out of hatred, but out of duty, honor, and care for her people. One evening, as the sun set behind the jagged mountains, painting the sky in red and orange, Alara and Alex sat on a rock, sharing a small meal. The wind was calm for the first time in days. Alara looked at him and spoke softly. "I never thought I could trust a human," she said. "But you saved me. Not for glory, not for reward, you just saved me." Alex smiled, a small, tired smile. "I told you I don't leave anyone behind, friend or enemy. You're alive, that's enough." Alara felt a warmth she had not felt in a long time. The fear, the loneliness, the pain, it all seemed lighter with him beside her. She knew the journey was far from over, but for the first time she felt hope. They would survive together. They would face the dangers of the moon, the humans, and the Empire. And one day they would return. But for now, survival was enough. For now, they had each other. Alara and Alex continued their journey across the barren moon. The terrain grew more dangerous with each passing day. Jagged cliffs, deep craters, and shifting rock fields made travel slow and exhausting. They moved carefully, always alert for predators or hidden dangers. Alara's strength and skills kept them alive, but she depended more and more on Alex's knowledge of survival. One morning, they climbed a rocky hill to get a better view of the horizon. Below, a valley stretched out, dotted with wrecked ships and burned-out craters. Alara's eyes narrowed. "This was a battlefield," she said quietly. "We are far from any safe place." "Humans and aliens fought here," Alex nodded. "We need to keep moving. The longer we stay, the greater the danger." They began descending into the valley. The ground was uneven and covered with sharp rocks. As they walked, Alara noticed tracks in the dust. Large, heavy footprints, unlike any creature she had seen on this moon. She motioned for Alex to stop. Together, they followed the tracks cautiously. The tracks led them to a deep cave hidden behind a rock formation. Inside, they found evidence of life, broken tools, bones of creatures, and a small fire pit. Alara's instincts told her someone had been here recently. She felt uneasy. Alex agreed and suggested they rest outside the cave for the night. That evening, as the wind howled across the valley, they heard movement. Shadows flitted near the rocks and low growls echoed through the canyon. Alara readied her weapon. Alex checked his traps and weapons. They waited silently. A pack of alien predators appeared, their eyes glowing in the dark. They were faster and larger than any Alara had seen before. The creatures circled, testing them. Alara fired her weapon, but she knew it was not enough. Alex used a combination of traps and strategy, guiding the creatures into a narrow pass. One by one, the predators fell into the traps. The last one lunged at Alara, but Alex pushed her out of the way, taking a deep scratch on his arm. Alara fired a precise shot, ending the threat. They sat in silence afterward, breathing heavily. Alara looked at Alex. "You saved my life," she said. "Again." Alex shook his head. "We save each other, that is what matters." As the days passed, Alara and Alex grew stronger, more coordinated. They learned to read the moon like a map. They could predict storms, find hidden water sources, and avoid dangerous creatures. Alara began to see humans not as enemies, but as capable, clever, and resilient. She remembered the Empire's teachings. Humans were weak, disorganized, and dangerous only in numbers. Now she realized the truth was very different. Humans were strong in ways her people had never understood. One afternoon, while exploring a canyon, they came across a human scout camp. Soldiers were repairing ships and organizing supplies. Alara froze. This was a chance to find help or to be captured. Alex placed a hand on her shoulder. "Stay calm, we can observe first." They watched from a distance. The humans were busy, focused on their work. Some laughed, some argued, some repaired machines with careful hands. Alara noticed their cooperation, their discipline, and their willingness to help each other. It was unlike anything she had imagined. She felt a strange respect for them. That night they camped near the scout camp, careful not to be seen. Alara thought about her father again. King Varen believed she was dead. The Empire mourned her loss. She felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her. She had survived, but now she had a choice. She could stay hidden, safe with Alex, or she could return to her people and face her father, knowing he would question everything about her survival. The next morning, they moved past the human camp, careful to avoid detection. As they traveled, Alara spoke. "Alex, I need to tell you something. If my father finds out I survived with a human, he may not believe your intentions. He may see you as a threat." Alex nodded. "I understand, but I will not leave your side. Whatever comes, we face it together." Alara felt a surge of gratitude and trust. She had never depended on anyone like this before. Her life had been about duty, control, and strategy. Now she realized strength came from trust, from teamwork, from compassion. She had learned more from this human than she had learned in her entire training as a princess and soldier. As they crossed a rocky plain, a storm began to rise. The wind howled, carrying sharp dust and debris. Alara and Alex struggled to find shelter. The storm was relentless. Alara used her knowledge of terrain to lead them to a narrow canyon, protected on three sides by cliffs. They huddled together, using their cloaks to shield from the worst of the wind. During the storm, Alara shared more about her life. She told Alex about the palace, about her father's strict rules, and about the pressure she had always felt to be perfect. Alex listened quietly, offering only nods and gentle questions. She felt lighter, as if sharing her burdens made them smaller. The storm passed slowly, leaving the landscape scarred and quiet. The air was clearer, but Alara knew more challenges awaited. They needed to move toward the space docks on the far side of the moon. From there, they could find a ship to take them off the moon and back toward the Empire. It was a long journey, and the path was dangerous. Over the next week, they faced many challenges. Landslides blocked their path. Alien predators stalked them at night. The terrain forced them to climb, crawl, and sometimes run for hours without rest. Every challenge tested their strength, endurance, and trust in each other. Alara began to admire Alex's patience and intelligence. He could think ahead, plan traps, and anticipate danger in ways she could not. She realized that humans were not only strong physically, but mentally strong as well. One evening, as they rested on a small cliff overlooking a deep valley, Alex spoke. "You are stronger than you think, Alara. I have seen it. You face every danger without fear. You protect yourself and me. You lead even when the world seems against you." Alara looked at him, surprised by his words. She had always led because she had to, not because anyone believed in her. His words gave her a strange comfort. She realized that survival was not only about strength, but about courage, trust, and determination. They continued to grow closer. Small gestures, shared meals, and mutual protection created a bond that neither expected. Alara found herself laughing at Alex's dry humor, relying on his instincts, and trusting him more than anyone she had ever known. Alex, in turn, respected her wisdom, courage, and leadership. They were not just allies, they were friends, partners in survival, and soon, perhaps something more. Finally, after days of travel, they reached the outskirts of the human space docks. Alara paused. The facility was heavily guarded. Any misstep could lead to their capture or worse. She turned to Alex. "This is it. We have to be careful. If they see me, if they attack, I need you to be ready." Alex nodded, his expression serious. "We face it together. Whatever happens, we survive." As night fell, they moved toward the docks, using the shadows and terrain to remain unseen. The lights of ships and machinery illuminated the distance, but Alara felt no fear. She had survived storms, predators, and loneliness. She had survived with a human by her side. Together, they could face anything. Alara knew the journey was not over. The Empire still believed she was dead. Her father mourned her. The humans might see her as an enemy, but for the first time, she felt hope. She had learned the value of trust, the strength of compassion, and the courage that came from working together. She had learned that humans were more than her people believed, and that she was stronger than she had ever imagined. As they crouched in the shadows, watching the human guards below, Alara felt determination rise within her. They would survive this. They would find a way back. And when they did, the Empire would see the truth she had discovered. Strength was not only in power, but in mercy, endurance, and trust. With Alex by her side, she knew they could face whatever came next. Alara and Alex moved cautiously toward the alien capital. The journey from the human space docks was long, but Alara had recovered some communication devices and maps that showed safe routes through the stars. She piloted a small shuttle, with Alex navigating and repairing the ship as needed. The closer they got to the Empire, the heavier the silence became. Alara knew the people believed she was dead. Her father mourned her loss, and now she would return alive with a human at her side. She did not know how they would react. "You're nervous," Alex said quietly, noticing her tense hands on the controls. Alara exhaled slowly. "I've survived a lot of dangers, but nothing like this. I don't know what my father will do or say. He may see you as an enemy." Alex placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We face it together. We survived the moon, the predators, the storms. Your father is just another challenge. We can handle it." The shuttle entered the Empire's space, sensors scanning for threats. Alien defense ships patrolled the area, their weapons ready to fire on anything unexpected. Alara used stealth protocols she had learned as a princess, guiding the ship through hidden routes, avoiding detection. Alex monitored the sensors, warning her of approaching patrols. They worked seamlessly, a team forged in danger. Finally, they approached the orbit of the capital. The city below was vast, filled with towers and spires that gleamed under the light of the Empire's sun. Ships moved in and out of docks, some on patrol, some carrying goods. Alara's stomach twisted. She had seen this city only from the throne room, from a distance, never expecting to return under these circumstances. "We have to land quietly," Alara said. "If the guards see me, if the alarms go off, it will be chaos." Alex nodded. He prepared the shuttle systems, ready to make a quick escape if needed. Alara guided the ship toward a hidden landing platform used for emergencies. The shuttle touched down smoothly, hidden from view of the main city. Alara exhaled, relief washing over her. They had made it. They were home. Stepping out of the shuttle, Alara looked at the city. It was familiar, yet strange after all she had been through. The streets were quiet. The Empire was mourning her, but life had continued. She felt the weight of responsibility heavier than ever. She had survived, yes, but now she had to face her father. She had to explain everything, and she had to protect Alex. As they approached the palace, guards stopped them. Alara raised her hand. "I am Princess Alara," she said. "I have returned." The guards hesitated, then lowered their weapons. Word spread quickly through the palace. The Emperor's advisors rushed to the throne room. The doors opened, and King Varen appeared. His eyes widened in disbelief. "Alara alive?" he whispered, his voice breaking. Alara stepped forward, her head held high. "Yes, father, I am alive." Varen's eyes shifted to Alex. He froze, anger flashing in his expression. "And who is this human?" Alara stepped between them. "This is Alex. He saved my life. Without him, I would not be here." The throne room grew tense. Guards gripped their weapons. Ministers whispered urgently. Varen's face was a mixture of shock, anger, and confusion. "A human saved my daughter. You brought him into the Empire." Alara held her ground. "He is not my enemy, father. He is strong, loyal, and brave. He protected me when everyone else could not. He deserves respect, not punishment." Varen's eyes narrowed. "You are my daughter, a princess of the Empire. How can you trust a human? How can you bring one into the palace?" Alara's voice was calm but firm. "Because humans are stronger than you think. They are capable of loyalty, courage, and mercy. Alex saved me not because he had to, but because he chose to. That is strength." Alex stepped forward, hands raised to show he meant no harm. "Your Majesty, I only wish to help. I do not seek power or glory. I saved Alara because it was the right thing to do." Varen studied him closely. He had expected arrogance, deceit, or fear. Instead, he saw honesty and calm. His daughter had survived, and this human had helped her. The king's pride struggled with his reason. He could not deny the truth before him. "You speak boldly," Varen said finally. "But can I trust that you will not harm the Empire?" Alex nodded. "I do not wish to harm anyone. I only wish to survive and protect those who cannot protect themselves." Alara watched her father carefully. She had always known him to be strict, unyielding, and proud, but now she saw doubt in his eyes. The Empire had taught her to fight humans, to fear them, to assume the worst. Now she realized that fear had been taught, not natural. Humans could be brave, honorable, and merciful. Varen sat back in his throne, weighing his thoughts. He glanced at Alara, seeing her grown stronger than he had imagined. She had survived alone, faced impossible challenges, and returned with a human companion. She had proven her courage, her wisdom, and her strength. "Very well," he said slowly. "You are alive, Alara, and you have returned. This human will be allowed to remain under my supervision. Any sign of betrayal and the consequences will be severe. Do you understand?" Alex bowed. "Yes, Your Majesty, I understand." Varen's gaze returned to his daughter. "And you have brought the impossible to my eyes. Humans are not what I believed. I see now that strength comes in many forms, not just power, not just numbers. Courage, loyalty, and mercy, these are also strength." Alara felt a mixture of relief and pride. Her father had accepted her words, at least partially. The Empire had survived this day because she had survived. And perhaps the Empire could learn something from the human at her side. Over the next few days, Alara and Alex moved carefully through the palace. Ministers and guards watched them closely. Whispers spread through the city. "A human in the palace, a princess returned." Rumors spread quickly. Alara and Alex stayed focused, knowing that every step mattered. They needed to earn the trust of the people, and to show that survival, courage, and loyalty were more important than fear and prejudice. Alara met with her advisors, explaining the events of the moon, the dangers they had faced, and the truth about humans. Some were skeptical. Some were amazed, but all listened. She spoke calmly, with honesty, and with the authority of someone who had faced death and survived. Alex helped where he could, showing his knowledge of tactics, survival, and strategy. He did not boast or demand recognition, but his presence spoke louder than words. The advisors saw that Alara had chosen wisely in trusting him. They began to understand that strength was not always obvious, and that humans were capable of qualities they had never considered. One evening, Alara stood on the balcony of the palace, looking out at the city. Alex joined her silently. The sun set, painting the sky in red and orange. Alara felt the weight of her journey, but also a sense of hope. They had survived the impossible, and now they could begin to change the future. "We did it," Alex said softly. "We survived," Alara corrected. "And now we have a chance to do more, to show the Empire that strength is not only power, but courage, loyalty, and mercy." Alex nodded. "And we face it together, whatever comes next." Alara smiled, feeling a sense of purpose she had never known. She had returned home alive. Her father had seen the truth. And with Alex by her side, she knew that the Empire could learn, grow, and survive in ways it had never imagined. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, Alara felt hope. She had survived, she had learned, and she had returned stronger than ever. With trust, courage, and determination, she could face whatever challenges lay ahead. And with Alex by her side, nothing seemed impossible. Alara stood in the throne room beside Alex, her heart steady but her mind alert. Word of her survival and return with a human had spread throughout the Empire. The people were curious, some doubtful, some fearful. The ministers and advisors whispered among themselves, trying to decide how to react. Guards were tense, unsure if they would face rebellion or attack. Alara knew that today would decide much of the Empire's future. King Varen sat on his throne, watching his daughter closely. He had accepted that she was alive, but he remained cautious. Humans were still seen as enemies by much of the Empire. The Council expected a demonstration of loyalty from Alara and Alex. Alara drew a deep breath. She had survived countless dangers, faced impossible odds, and returned stronger. Now she needed to show the Empire the truth she had learned. "People of the Empire," Alara began, her voice clear and steady, "I have returned from the battlefield alive. I faced storms, predators, and humans in ways I never expected. And through it all, I survived, not alone, but with someone I once considered an enemy. This human, Alex, saved my life, protected me, and taught me the strength humans carry. Strength not only in battle, but in loyalty, courage, and mercy." Murmurs spread through the throne room. Some shook their heads, some looked curious. Alara continued, "We have fought humans and feared them, believing they were weak, dangerous, or unworthy of respect. I have learned the truth. Humans are strong, clever, and honorable. Alex has proven this. He has saved my life more than once, and he has earned the respect of this Empire, if not now, then in time." Alex stepped forward, hands raised to show he meant no harm. "Your Majesty, your people, I do not seek power or glory. I only wish to survive and help those who need it. I fought alongside Alara not because of allegiance, but because it was right. Strength is not only in conquest, but in protecting others." Varen's eyes studied Alex, searching for lies or hidden motives. He found none. He saw honesty, courage, and calm. He saw the human who had kept his daughter alive, who had earned her trust. Slowly he spoke. "You have returned, Alara, and this human, he has proven himself. Perhaps humans are not what we believed. Perhaps strength is more than weapons or armies. Courage, loyalty, and mercy are also strength." The council and ministers whispered among themselves, some nodding, others frowning. The guards lowered their weapons slowly, seeing the king's acceptance. Alara's heart lifted slightly, but she knew this was only the beginning. The Empire had learned fear, and fear is hard to erase. She would need to show proof. Varen gestured to the throne room doors. "Show them what you have survived. Show the Empire what humans can do and what you have learned, my daughter." Alara nodded to Alex. Together, they led the people of the Empire to the archives, showing them maps of the moon, the dangerous terrain, and the remnants of battles. They displayed evidence of survival, traps, shelters, and the paths they had taken. They described predators, storms, and challenges. They told the story of survival not with pride, but with honesty. As the story unfolded, people began to understand. They saw that humans could be clever, disciplined, and courageous. They realized that Alara's survival was not just a miracle, but proof of strength in cooperation and mercy. The whispers grew quieter, replaced by awe and curiosity. Varen turned to his daughter. "You have returned alive. You have faced what no one else could. You have survived with a human beside you. The Empire must reconsider what it believes. You have taught us all a lesson." Alara bowed slightly. "I only did what I had to do to survive, Father. Alex helped. Without him, none of this would be possible. The Empire must see humans not only as enemies, but as beings capable of strength and honor." Perhaps one day we can learn from them as much as they learn from us. Alex nodded. The humans do not want endless war. We fight when necessary, but we also wish for peace. Strength is measured not only by victory, but by restraint and courage. Over the next days, Alara and Alex worked with the Empire. They demonstrated strategies, shared survival techniques, and showed how humans and aliens could cooperate. Skeptics remained, but curiosity and respect grew. Young soldiers asked questions, ministers debated respectfully, and even some of the guards softened. The Empire had begun to see the human as more than a threat. Alara also met with her father privately. He looked older, heavier with worry, but there was pride in his eyes. "You returned stronger than I imagined," he said. "You faced death and returned alive. You have taught me and perhaps the Empire a lesson we needed. Humans are more than we thought. And you are more than I believed." Alara smiled softly. "I have learned that strength is not only in power, Father. It is in courage, loyalty, and mercy. Humans have shown me that. Alex has shown me that. And perhaps the Empire can learn this too." Varen's expression softened. "We will need time. Change is slow, but you have begun it, and your choice to survive, to return, and to bring this truth has earned respect. I am proud of you, Alara." The days turned into weeks. Alara and Alex trained together with young soldiers, sharing lessons of survival, strategy, and trust. They forged bonds that crossed the lines of species and history. Alara's leadership, combined with Alex's practical skills and honesty, began to change the Empire from within. One evening, Alara stood on the balcony overlooking the city. Alex joined her silently. The sunset painted the towers gold and red. The Empire had survived, and perhaps it would grow stronger with new understanding. "We did it," Alex said softly. Alara shook her head slightly. "We survived, we taught the Empire a lesson, but this is only the beginning. Humans and aliens can be stronger together than apart. We have to keep proving it." Alex smiled. "And we will, together." Alara felt hope, the first true hope she had felt in a long time. She had survived impossible dangers, returned to her father, and shown her empire a new way forward. She had learned that strength was not only in weapons or fleets, but in courage, mercy, loyalty, and trust. With Alex by her side, she knew the Empire could grow, learn, and face the future with a new understanding. The Empire had begun to see humans differently. The people had begun to trust a human beside their princess. And Alara knew that this change, small as it might be, was the greatest victory of all. She looked at Alex, and he looked back, both silently acknowledging the journey they had endured. The dangers, the moon, the storms, and the fear, they had survived it together. The Empire was alive, and so were they. Hope had returned with her, stronger than ever, ready to shape the future. And for Alara, for Alex, and for the Empire, that future held promise.